Sandali lang. Let's put in our lapel para hindi tayo magkaroon ng issues on audio. Hindi masyado maingay, hindi masyado marinig ang boses ko. So, I'm putting on my lapel. And we're gonna start our live stream because we have several things that we're going to be talking about. And I just wanted to start off first doon sa mga nandito nakaantabay, Ping, Don Oragon, Vlog, and Pen and Poetry from the Marshall Islands. Hello and good evening and welcome to my channel. So thank you very much for joining us in our live stream this evening. Medyo slightly controversial yung mga topics that we're going to be discussing. So I will be asking everyone that we are going to be talking on codes on several points in this live stream later on. So I wanna start off first with some greetings dun sa mga nandito na. Hello, Winnicott, pasensya na, masyadong nag-scroll, mabilis pag-scroll yung aking laptop, so hindi ko mabasa yung mga ibang mga nag-comment dito. So, sige. Sabi ni Don Oragon Vlog, right here waiting, magandang gabi po sa lahat at mabuhay. Pen and Poetry earlier mentioned his hello from the Marshall Islands. I think that's somewhere in the Pacific, if I'm not mistaken. Magandang gabi, sabi ni Ping, sabi ni Winnicott, good evening mga mamshi, good evening sa lahat. Not missing our live session, sabi ni Ping. So thank you, Ping. Please do like, give a thumbs up dun sa ating live stream so that there are more people who's going to be able to see it later on, especially after the live stream is over. Kasi that's how the algorithm works. So there's a lot of topics that we're going to be discussing, and we will probably start off with the 2023 pageant season. So if you have notes, pen and paper in your desk or in your vicinity, you can take down notes, some of the dates that we are going to be discussing on the pageant schedules. Kasi some of these schedules, they're not they're scheduled in the oras at araw ng what do you call this, ng host country. So like for example, Miss Universe is going to be in El Salvador in November 18. That's a Saturday, so it is most likely that would fall on a Sunday early morning here in Asia. Not unless they will make some arrangements that this time around the pageant is going to be catering to the Asian market, but I highly doubt that. Usually it's always the US prime time na hinahabol nila for the Miss Universe na pageant. So there. Sige, let's pasa some comments here. Michael Cordovis is here. Ayan, nakasimula ako ng live ulit. Good to hear that. Pen and Poetry, sabi niya, yes, the Marshall Islands is near Micronesia, Guam, and Palau. So, if I'm not mistaken, Marshall Islands is an independent country of its own. Tama ba? Because I know that Guam is a US territory, but they are independent. They have their own governing tawag nito. They have their own, what do you call this? Governing body, or they have their own a government that is separate from the US. I'm not sure. Kinda have a difficulty remember yung mga geography classes namin nung grade school. Anyway, Michael Cordovis, sabi niya, Sir Jason, confirmed na nga ang MW franchise, wala na kay ALV. That I don't know, Michael. Let's wait for official na news on that kasi I've been hearing that hindi siya mawala-wala for the longest time. So we might be hearing some actual na news siguro in the next several weeks. So, Hajiev, sabi niya, good evening, here for the tea. Okay. Winnicott says, another sensible pageant discussion. Yay. Lemuel235 is here. Good evening, Lemuel. Lemuel is one of our mga followers, not only here on YouTube but also on Instagram, na very active. Sabi niya, magandang gabi, Sir Jason. Isang maaliwalas na gabi, walang ulan, diretso ang live session. Yes, thankfully. Kaya lang medyo mainit. Yun, may tanong si Lemuel. Sabi niya, Michael Cordoves, paano mo nalaman na confirm na wala na kay ALV? So let's wait for that. Mark Gonzalez is here. Hello, good evening, Mark. Good evening, Sir Jason. Attendance po. Thanks for the quick chat on IG today. So yes, Pen and Poetry confirms that it's independent but associated with the US. Okay, so before we begin, please, for those who are new here, please leave a thumbs up, leave a like on our live stream so that mas marami yung makapanood ng ating live stream later on when the live stream is finished, and the algorithm will push this content to more of YouTube na audiences. Okay, so as I said earlier, please jot down these dates because these are the dates that's going to be very important in terms of the international pageant season that we're going to be facing come not third. So come fourth quarter of the year. Kasi third quarter is July, August, September. So yung mga international pageant seasons, they are going to be starting at around October. We're just waiting for confirmation for the Miss Intercontinental na competition because wala pa tayong naririnig na confirmed dates. So in that sense, maghihintay muna tayo ng further information if it will happen September, October, November, December of this year. So, dyan lang naman papasok yung mga timetable nila. It is likely that we will be seeing Iona Gibbs compete in Miss Intercontinental, which is going to be held in Egypt hopefully this year. So, ang mauunang pageant is yung pageant ni Uncle. Miss Grand International will be happening in October 25 in Vietnam. I'm not sure kung kailan yung start date ng pageant, but if it will be having the usual na timetable nila, it might happen between 2 to 3 weeks. And it will happen in Vietnam. However, ang magiging the pageant that it will more likely be, sasagasaan niya this time around is the Miss International pageant. We all know that the Miss International pageant is a very traditional na pageant, so we do not expect that we will be having like a very MGI level na production come finals in October 26 at the Tokyo's Yoyogi Stadium. So hindi siya yung usual na Tokyo Dome. Tokyo Dome, if I'm not mistaken, is larger, and Yoyogi is around Shibuya na area. Okay? So ang opener natin is among the alpha pageants is actually the Miss International na pageant. Of course, syempre medyo ibang-iba yung production level ng MGI versus the Miss International na pageant. So let's not expect like magbago yung magbago ng 180 degrees yung personality ng Miss International. So I am sure that a lot of Filipino fans and mostly Latino fans would be looking at the Miss Grand International because of the showmanship level of the pageant. While tayo naman ng mga Filipino fans, I think we are hoping for an international crown, an alpha crown this year. So we are looking at the strongest na bets natin, the strongest na na Filipina candidates, Filipina representatives that could bring an international alpha crown this year, being our reps for Miss International, Nicole Borromeo, and Miss Earth, Yana Aduana, which is kind of like book-ended na nasa umpisa, nasa unahan si Nicole among our alpha queens to compete, and nasa huli si Yana na magko-compete among the four na alpha queens. So we are, we're hoping that we are going to score major wins this year because ang tagal na din since we actually won an alpha title. The last one that we've earned was Miss Universe in 2018, and that is, almost 5 years na at this point in time. So isipin natin kung aabot na naman tayo ng another 10 years bago tayo maka-score ng alpha na title, it's not going to be, it's not going to be, it won't look good for us kasi we are essentially now just relying on our past laurels in terms of international na mga titles. So ang sa akin lang kasi is that it doesn't matter that we've been winning, all of these, mga minor na titles, mga smaller na mga crowns, but I think in order for us to cement yung ating powerhouse status once again, is to prove that, we can win these alpha crowns within the next 5 years. Kasi masyadong nang lumalaki yung gap in between. Okay? So, after the Miss International in October 26, the next pageant that we will have is another back-to-back na international competitions care of the Miss Globe in Tirana, Albania, which will happen in November 17, which is around November 18 here in the Philippines. I think that's around early morning to morning here in the Philippines. So mark your calendar dahil we're always one day ahead in terms of the schedule. Same thing with Miss Universe in November 18, which falls on a Saturday, which is November 19 in the Philippines, here in Asia. Okay? Lemuel, mamaya na ako ano ng mga comments. And Charlie, I know there are some mga comments na tumarating dito. I will be running through them later after the schedules of the international competitions. Okay? So, as I've said, the Miss Universe is going to be in San Salvador, in El Salvador, the capital city of that country. It will be on November 18, which is going to be November 19 here in the Philippines, if it will follow the US na broadcast. I think there is a lengthy conversation with regards to the broadcast partner ng tawag nito ng Miss Universe this year on our Instagram na post confirming the streaming platform Roku as the official broadcast partner ng Miss Universe this year, with Telemundo for the Latin-speaking na mga countries. May konting debate on that earlier in the week because our understanding was very limited. I admittedly would say na limited yung understanding ko ng gaano kalawak ng Roku, and apparently parang milyones yung reach ng what do you call this ng Roku in terms of viewership in the US. So I am quite glad that with all of these mukhang palubog na yung viewership ng Miss Universe kasi it's now on the streaming platform. Apparently there are more people who are now shifting in the US from national television stations, national networks, into streaming services. And probably it has something to do with accessibility, it has something to do with yung being able to nitpick which, content that you want to view and not be at the mercy of ano yung ipapalabas ng station. So I think that's a very good, a very good reason why the Miss Universe is moving towards a younger generation, because more likely that the people who watch streaming services are the ones who are within the millennials and Gen Z generation. And I think that is, as we all know, the age group that the Miss Universe is targeting. And this is also the reason why na medyo mas woke yung mga, what do you call this, mga decisions ng Miss Universe in the past several years. And that is something na quite evident, I believe, with the move towards streaming services this year. Let me just go check yung sabi ni Ed's Travels on Instagram. Ed's is actually a friend of mine na nag-migrate na sa US na nagtatrabaho ngayon sa US, and he mentioned that Roku has around 71.6 million monthly active users. So that is a very high na tawag nito na number in terms of the active users ng streaming platform. And sabi niya, even big networks, stream their live shows on Roku. So that means that there is a there is a audience in tawag nito in streaming platforms. And I would not be surprised that maybe later on, lahat tayo i-require na magbayad for access to watch the Miss Universe pageant on Roku. I am hoping na sana here in the Philippines, channels like A to Z or GMA7 would still be able to get the broadcast rights to have it televised here in the Philippines, because not everyone here in the Philippines is on board with the streaming services. Hindi pa tayo ganun ka-sophisticated, or hindi pa tayo ganun ka-advanced mag-isip in terms of the way that we consume content. Here in the Philippines, like probably siguro majority of the world, we still are reliant on networks in terms of the broadcast ng Miss Universe na pageant. Okay? And then, the last two, alpha pageants that's going to be happening in this year is happening in December 9th in India for Miss World. We're not yet sure if it's going to be Mumbai or New Delhi, although there is a alleged na message or email from the Miss World organization to the Miss World national directors that they will have to fly into New Delhi on a certain date. Let me just check my notes here. It says all national representatives are urged to travel to New Delhi by November 8th in order to take part in the competition's pre-pageant events. The delegates are instructed to fly into Delhi Airport and depart from Mumbai Airport following the coronation night. So, medyo mahaba-haba siya. It's going to be over a month-long na competition. If the candidates is going to be there, should be there in India by November 8th, and then their finals is on November 9th, which means that around mukhang nawala na naman ang ating live stream. Okay, which means that around November 10, kinakailangan nakapag-depart na sila sa sa India through via Mumbai Airport. Okay? So, and then the last na pageant is going to be in Vietnam for the Miss Earth pageant. It's going to be on December 16, and we're not yet sure kung ano yung anong city yung magho-host, because we've been hearing either Dalat or Ho Chi Minh. So we're hoping that we are able to get a clearer picture on that in the coming weeks and coming months. Okay? Actually, I have a plan sana na pumunta ng Vietnam to watch and cover Miss Earth. However, upon the announcement that it's going to be in conflict with my day job because last day, I think that yung December 16 falls on a finals week in one of the universities that I teach in. So, sayang. But let's see. I'm not yet closing my doors totally for coverage for Miss Earth, but we will see kung ano yung kaya nating i-commit later on. But for now, medyo malabo. But let's hope for the best. Okay? Sige, let's read some comments muna before we discuss yung susunod na pag-uusapan natin. And medyo sensitibo ito. It's a little bit sensitive because it involves some lawsuits that's currently happening. Okay? So, let's go muna with the comments and let's discuss the juicy parts later. I'll be a little bit later. Okay. Winnicott, sabi niya, unlike MU, MI, and ME, walang official post ang Miss World saying na December 9 ang finals date nila. However, if the official na mga national pageants, like I think Miss World South Africa have officially posted yung kanilang dates. Sila din ang nagsabi na it's going to be in Mumbai. So, I think it's pretty much klaro na it's pretty much confirmed that it's going to be in India in December 9th. Okay, ayan. So, may comment dito si Hajiev. Sabi niya, side note, should should Miss Universe national directors be held to a higher standard? He follows a bullying stance. I do not know. May issue ba? I might have to check that, Hajiev. Kasi, tawag ito kasi hindi ko pa ito na nakikita. However, looking at their winners this past, was it Friday ba yun? I think yung first and second runner-up would have been the better choice to be sent in Miss Universe. I think they just got mesmerized by Fabian's ability to speak. However, for me, the more well-rounded competitor is Vina, yung first runner-up nila, and si Mutia, which is their second runner-up. Unfortunately for Mutia, I don't think that her final Q&A was strong as compared to Fabian's and Vina's, but I am not quite sure with the main winner, with Fabian, because of her height. And kasi hindi nakatangkaran actually si Arbony, pero nung tumabi siya sa kanya, parang mas maliit pa siya kaysa kay Arbony. I don't know how is that going to factor in later on, because we all know naman that physicality and physical beauty is still a part of the judging process in Miss U. So let's see, maybe she has the charm, maybe she has the personality that would coast her through into the semis this year. Okay, so there's this comment from Charlie Santiago. Sabi niya, Sir Jason, I just joined the live, not certain if it was discussed, but I noticed that the Mr. International Thailand-based page is back and the Mr. International Philippines-based is gone. Pag-uusapan natin yan mamaya, Charlie, kasi may mga nalaman ako lately with regards to that. But for those na naiintindihan kung sino yung patungkol doon sa patsaan natin earlier today doon sa ating Instagram and doon sa ating Facebook na post, then medyo may idea na kayo kung anong nangyayari. So, Lemon 235, Sir Jason, thoughts on pageant aspirants usually not submitting on the first day. Does this usually happen? Kasi, kanina, Empire PH has officially opened both of its pageants, then only a few came. Siguro, yung last, dun nagpupunta karamihan ng mga nagpapascreen because most, alam naman ng mga Pinoy, syempre gusto sa huli magpapabongga, hindi sa umpisa, 'di ba? Michael Cordovez, Sir Jason, may chichi regarding Emmy franchise na chichi na babalik sa Binibining Pilipinas. Hindi kasi mamatay nagchichi ang chichi na ito. I've been hearing that. I've discussed that numerous times in the past, whether it's on our live stream or it's a chichi separate dito sa tawag nito dito sa website natin, but I've heard na yung organization mismong mismong organization ang lumapit sa mga araneta. Pero ayokong I don't want to preempt if they indeed got the franchise back or not, dahil it's not mine to announce. And even if I know or I knew yung anong nangyayari, the best thing that I can do is to have it in a chichi session. Kasi mahirap ng pangunahan ng Binibining Pilipinas, especially that I'm still part of their media roster that they, that is invited in their events. Ang hirap din kasi on my part na pangungunahan ko sila with a confirmation when sila mismo gusto silang sa kanila manggaling. So, I kinda have to find that perfect balance between being able to give you mga ganitong tsaa na hindi kuryente, but at the same time yung pabida na mangunguna sa what do you call this, sa patsaa, because I remember a day 24 hours before mag-post ang Miss Universe ng kanilang official announcement that the final date for the Miss Universe this year is November 18. Nauna ko nang inilabas yung date. And saka lang ako maglalabas kapag 100% sure ako. And even then, I am still going to put or add a doubt, a question mark doon sa post ko, because yun na nga, I don't want din na yung mga sources ko mapahamak dahil isa sila dun sa mga nasabihan. So, with regards to Binibining Pilipinas, what I do know is that yes, lumapit daw si Kun-an sa mga araneta. May inilahad na numero with regards to the franchise fee. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-year, 10-year na contract, kasi nasa 10 million nasa $10 million yung numero na pinag-uusapan di umano. So the best thing that we can do now is be patient and wait for an actual confirmation from the organization itself, kasi no matter how prodding we would do doon sa mga amiga natin na may naririnig sa loob, may naririnig sa nakapaligid ng mga what do you call this, nakapaligid ng mga tao, hindi natin sila pwedeng i-push dahil mabibisto naman sila na sila yung nag-feed sa atin. Kawawa naman sila, di ba? So, I don't want to jeopardize yung relationship with our sources, and I don't want to jeopardize our relationship with the BPCI as well. So I do hope you understand if ever na kung minsan ako nag-hold back, it's not because nagpa-power trip ako. It's just because may mga tayong pinangangalagaan. Okay? Ayoko munang, alam mo yun, yung ayoko munang magsalita ng tapos, ayoko munang mag-splook kung wala pa akong pinanghahawakan. And I think that is something na I think some of most of you would appreciate because I don't usually yung mga patsa ako, yung accuracy is like high. Okay? So ayoko munang magsalita habang wala pa akong pinanghahawakan. Okay? So there. Nasaan na ba tayo? Wait lang. I think na kay Dorothy, no. Romnick Parinas, sabi niya, I think parang nag-pattern sila kay Frederica for Miss Universe Indonesia. I think so. But pansin nyo, this year, majority of yung mga winners, whether it's Putri Indonesia, Miss Universe Indonesia, or Binibining Pilipinas, medyo hindi sila nagpa-pattern doon sa mga taong to, doon sa mga popular girls, or perhaps they're breaking out of the molde, the mold of what they're looking for in a winner, because like for example, in Putri Indonesia, the main winner, the one who won Putri Indonesia, is not necessarily the most facially gorgeous among the batch. And I think, the mere fact that sinundan natin yan with, a very morena na beauty where in the past, I don't know, 5 years, 4 years, panay mestiza yung pinapadala natin. Kinda like off-field that we're sending Morena with, Angelica Lopez in Miss International next year. So, maybe there is that instead of like pinapattern nila kay Frederica. Kasi si Frederica, alam niyo naman, si Frederica may pera. Alam niyo naman na si Frederica, minentor. Okay, we're back live. Okay, as I was saying, si Frederica, minentor ng isang naging eventually judge ng Miss Universe nung edition nila. So, yun yung medyo may pagka-shady na nangyari. Kaya, hindi ko pwedeng sabihin na na on merit alone yung pagkaka-top 10 niya. Kaya, siya nga yung tinitignan na pamantayan. Actually, sa totoo nga niyan, parang hindi siya yung pamantayan dahil hindi naman siya ganun kaganda. I mean, hindi naman ganun katatas yung performance niya during that edition. So anyway, Jon Snow 79 says, "Hi Jason. Regarding Miss Universe Indonesia, it seems that they are following Putri where the winners usually came from wealthy families. Yung tipong kayang magwaldas ng pera para sa rep nila. If I'm not mistaken, oh my God, I forgot her name. Their Miss Universe representative in 2014, siya yung pinakamagandang pamantayan sana when it comes to their Indonesia to their reps. Because aside from being, wealthy, performance din si ate at saka din siya. Nagpakitang gilas din sa Doral, and I was witness to that, having been there in Doral, being my first Miss Universe coverage ever. So, yun. Heading pageant orgs this year, do you think Catriona or Pia should align themselves along this career path? Honestly, I don't want muna for them to head organizations. You know why? Kasi I want them to have a career outside pageantry first before they venture into the national directorship. Dahil if I be frank, I would think that someone like Nina Cecilia for La Quinta Venezuela, the Miss Venezuela organization, would be perfect. Someone who has, you know, seen the organization, been in the organization for quite a long time. Someone who has, you know, has seen the organization from inside and out. Para mas malawak yung perspective when it comes to training, molding, candidates, when it comes to running an organization, because I think you need someone who has the maturity of someone who has, you know, lived outside pageantry for quite some time. And but at the same time still has her foot inside the door, na hindi siya yung totally unaware of what's happening in the world of pageantry. So I would probably think of someone who is like, I don't know, Desiree Verdadero, someone like Charlene Gonzalez, someone like I don't know, Aurora P. Juan, or if Margie Moran is not available because of her commitment with, you know, with the Philippine Ballet Philippine Ballet something of the Philippines. I would rather have someone, you know, who has been in the organization or who has ties in the organization for quite some time. And this is the reason why I feel that, you know, Lara Kigaman is perfect for it, because aside from her winning Miss International in 2005, she had a showbiz career, a very, you know, thriving showbiz career after that. And then she had focus on family life. So in terms of, you know, career, in terms of family life, there is something na buo na siyang maidadala from her experience into the organization. So I think that someone like her would be the better option for being a national director, or being part of the executive committee of Binibining Pilipinas, or any, you know, because as I said, you know that people like Lara Kigaman have lived lives that is meaningful, fruitful, that has, you know, that they've seen, you know, the ups and downs. So hindi lang sa pageant gumagalaw yung mundo nila. Okay, nasaan na tayo? Travel Junkie is here. Hello, Travel Junkie. Present, sir. Saan ka excited na pageant this year? I was thinking of going as well from Dubai. Let's see if the stars will align. Baka ma-meet pa kita doon. Honestly, I am excited for Miss Earth. But I've said, like what I've said earlier, it looks like medyo may conflict with my schedule with regards to that, because the week of the Miss Miss Earth in Vietnam coincides with finals week in one of the universities that I teach in. So I probably cannot make a commitment right now, but we'll see. I'm still not, you know, like canceling the possibility, but ang mahirap kasi dito is that a commitment with my day job has to come first over my desire to cover a international pageant. I am hoping though that kung kaya naman ng schedule, bakit hindi, di ba? Nasaan na ba tayo? I think nasaan na ba tayo? Oh my God. Where is that comment? I think Hajiev. Okay, another side note. Not a fan of Antonia's new look. I think her time has passed na in pageantry. I think that's the one of the posts that I mentioned earlier doon sa ating Instagram stories, because personally, I like the new na transformation niya. However, Miss Supranational reign na look, yung after she won Miss Supra, yung the entire time that she was, you know, serving her duties and responsibilities as Miss Supranational, I think yun yung pinaka-peak na pinakamaganda siya. Because it's still natural, it still feels natural and not so very manufactured. But I'm also loving her look now. It's just that maybe my bias is towards her Miss Supranational na look. I am not discounting, however, that performer, si Antonia. Whether our debate on her looks, would be which one is suits her better, I think wala tayong magiging issue when it comes to performance because you've seen her challenge, yung the one that they're walking on like a very narrow na bridge over a pool. I think she was the one who won that challenge. So I'm kind of like kampante ako when it comes to the pasarela, when it comes to the performance. Kasi if hindi nyo natatanong, Antonia, okay, nagkakaroon tayo ng problema sa ating Wi-Fi. Sorry lang. Her trainer actually is RL Lacanienta of RL's Angels. So, kinda expected na when it comes to, pasarela, wala kang magiging problema kay Antonia. So, there. I think may comment din dito si hindi ko na mahanap yung comment about Antonia. Anyway, moving on. Sabi ni Ping, hay nakukunan, kapag naibalik na sa Cubaong Miss Universe, mamahalin ka ng buong Pilipinas. Ha 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 ha. Sagot naman ni Michael Cordoves, Ping, tama ka, mamahalin siya ng mga Pinoy. JUP says, hi Sir Jess, hello, good evening. Hoping Catriona will become ND for Miss U if totoo na babalik sa Binibining Pilipinas. Why not? I mean, from host to ND, malaking talon yon. Although, I still feel na mas maganda sana if someone who is much older yung mag-head ng organization, just because of what I've mentioned earlier about, having lived lives outside of pageantry, outside of the very dizzying world of pageantry na meron siyang paghuhugutan kapag may kinalaman na about managing emotions, managing different personalities doon sa organization later on. So it's not that I am against younger girls like Pia or Catriona heading the organization. I do only want that mas maganda sana if makabuo muna sila ng mas fruitful na post-pageant careers, much like what Lara Kigaman did during her time. So, yun lang naman ang sa akin. Kasi, you need to learn, how to manage different perspectives, especially on the business side later on, kung paano ka i-manage ng mga taong nakapaligid sa'yo because as a national director, you will have to listen to a lot of different, opinions, perspectives on how to run an international or rather how to run a national pageant organization. And sometimes nakakatuliro yon. And this is also the reason why it probably worked for SMA, for Madam Stella na meron siyang close-knit of people, the BPCI Executive Committee na sila yung pinapakinggan niya. Sila yung tawag ito, they are the ones that ground her in terms of her, mga decisions with regards to the pageant. Okay, Ping. At Michael, sabi niya, kaya push na yan po. Jester PL, let's hope for the best sa muling pagbabalik sa A10 ng Kalawakan, Sir Jess. Ayokong magsalita ng tapos. You know me, I will not say something if I don't have, like, wala akong pinanghahawakan. Michael Cordoves, dapat i-push at babaan ang franchise fee. I kinda agree. Kasi exorbitant na. I think, if Miss Universe is expecting that countries, pageant-crazy countries would pay millions, or sabihin natin, would pay thousands and thousands of US dollars, would require 10,000 US dollars, would require 20, 50,000 US dollars for franchise fees for, high-ticket nations or pageant crazy na mga countries. then di ba dapat itaas niya din yung ibang mga countries to be fair doon sa mga pageant crazy na country. Kasi ang nangyayari nito, whoever pays for the higher na tawag ito na franchise fee, they are more likely not to be ignored by the organization. Kasi syempre, cash cow yan eh. 'Di ba? If let's say si Venezuela nagbabayad, sabihin natin ng 120,000 US dollars a year, then there is merit na wag nating ilaglag si Venezuela in our top 10 and our top 20, in our top 16. Maglalaglag tayo pero ilalaglag natin ang Venezuela pero kinakailangan ibabalik natin sila next year. So may mga may mga ganun na thoughts na pumapasok sa isip ng mga fans minsan na baka ganito ang nangyayari. So I think instead of relying on your national directors, on your local national franchises, mag-isip ka ng paraan in ways to generate income outside the national directorship and sa franchise fees. And this is what makes Kun An perfect for her role kasi she's doing that with merchandising, with products, with different tie-ups with skincare na mga sponsors to develop a skincare line for the Miss Universe organization. So yun yung kagandahan ng what do you call this? Kagandahan ng presensya ni Kun An because she's the one who's driving the force, or rather she's the driving force behind the business part of the Miss Universe organization. So there. Nasaan ba tayo? I think we are in the comment ni Lemuel, right? Sabi ni Lemuel, oops, sorry, na-scroll, shoot. Okay, here. Sabi ni Lemuel, do you think Kun An could be tapping Olivia Culpo and Jeannie Mai as host, or would she go a different route by having Catriona as a host with Thomas Roberts and Andy Cohen? I have no idea as of this moment. I think at this point, siguro na sa planning stage pa lang sila ng kanilang pageant. The last thing that I've heard was that the president of El Salvador was pushing for NBC Universal to televise the Miss Universe pageant. He was pushing for that in their negotiations, pero ngayon naman nalaman naman na natin na it's going to be Roku and Telemundo. So hindi ayoko munang mag-speculate kung sino magiging host kasi ang tingin ko is tinatrabaho pa lang nila ngayon yung pageant nila kung paano nila gagawing i-stage yung pageant. Kim Pascual 2004 says Wulandari was the firstest Y Elvira. Tama, Elvira pala si Putri Indonesia 2014. Elvira is the complete package. Maganda din sina Kezia and Bunga. The rest are no-no. To be fair, mas maganda pa pinadala nila last year compared sa winner ngayon. Jester PL says, Miriam Kiambao as ND, I agree. She would be a great, national director. Although, for me, parang mas gusto ko yata si Charlene Gonzalez because of the showbiz aspect. The mere fact that her family has showbiz ties, parang maganda siyang i-connect doon sa doon sa tawag nito, doon sa what do you call this, doon sa reimagining of the Binibining Pilipinas brand. Saldi Salen, Margie Moran is the current chairman of the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Good evening, Sir Jess. Okay, so correct. CCP pala, si Miss Margie. Yeah, Michael Cordoves, napuputol earlier yung aking internet connection. I'm not sure why, kasi naka-data naman na ako. But hoping, okay? Hoping. Tapos, okay, Michael Cordova says, hindi na overkill ni Antonia ang pasarela niya at hindi OA at hindi magaslaw at maganda tignan. That is why yung training niya under RL was really very, swak. Super ganda, super linis. Kasi kita naman doon sa kanyang performance sa Miss Supranational. Malinis yung pasarela. So, Winnicott says, Sir Jason, do you think Latina domination ulit ang top 5 sa Miss Universe 2023, especially with the involvement of Telemundo being the network partner? More like there is more clamor for a Latina in the top 5 this year because of the venue. Remember nyo naman na, syempre, kung nakanino yung which country hosts the Miss Universe pageant usually has a bearing in terms of the audience impact. That is why, for us, the Filipinos, we are very much happy if the Miss Universe is happening in Las Vegas because there's a huge Filipino, community in the US na willing to travel, willing to spend for the Miss Universe Miss Universe na pageant. So, maganda yung dagundong ng cheers natin when it's held in US soil. Another thing is siguro because El Salvador, the Philippines don't have if I'm not mistaken, the Philippines do not have diplomatic ties with El Salvador. So I am not sure paano tayo doon sa El Salvador come Miss Universe na pageant. Kaya maybe I think you're right in speculating na baka Latina domination ang mangyayari sa top 5 for 2023 this year. Now, nasan tayo? John Snow 79. I still think it's still Antonia for MUT. Thighs still want a thigh. So I think that's something against Vina Pravinar, which for me naman, how I am looking at the MUT as of this moment is that I would rather select Kirana, Jazzy, Tutor over those three girls, over Vina, over Antonia as of this moment, because one, she has a very interesting way of speaking. Two, there is depth in what she says. Ang pasarela pwede pang matrain. Hindi naman siya pangit maglakad. Polish siguro kailangan pa. She looks very interesting. Mukha siyang alta. She looks very expensive without trying too hard. That's what I like about Jazzy. And I think her following on social media would be a good boost for her should she win. Kasi meron na siyang follower. Meron na siyang following. Meron na siyang kumbaga panghahawakan in terms of if she needs to campaign hard for her advocacy on neurodiversity. Kumbaga, there are people who's willing to, expound her thoughts because of her following on social media. But I think trabahuin din niya yon kasi she cannot rely on the fact that, oh yes, thighs might still want to have a thigh representative in Miss Universe. So it does not automatically mean that she is going to be the immediate na ika-crown. No, kinakailangan pa rin niyang trabahuin yon. But I do think that she is the much better choice between Vina and Antonia as of this moment. Okay. Nasaan na? I think okay, ang daming mga comments, medyo na ako. Medyo naloloka na ako. Mark Gonzalez, ayan. Okay, Lara, sabi ni Mark, Lara has a background in running a pageant since she headed alongside Karen Agustin and Denil Valmonte, the short-lived Turismo Filipina na pageant. Of which MJ Lastimosa was a candidate. So, see, this is the reason why Lara would be a great, national director kasi meron na siyang pinanghahawakan na experience. Romnick Parinya says, I'm rooting for Vina for MUT. I think she's Miss Universe ready. Parang tinatawag siya ng universe. Who would have thought na makakasali pa siya after she got married? I do hope na yung weak area, which is the Q&A, yun yung mapulido ni Vina, because that was the thing that made her lose MUT during her time with, when she was competing, I believe with Maria, if I'm not mistaken, and the second time that she compete, medyo yung Q&A siya sumasablay. Okay, nasa na tayo? Mark Gonzalez, also Sir Jason, I was the one who messaged you on IG saying that Antonia's latest look resembles Mary Ann Umali, Miss World Philippines 2008. Yes. Hindi ko naman sinabi na pangit yung bagong gawa na mukha ni Antonia. I just, siguro matter of preference that I like yung mas natural na itsura niya noong nasa Miss Supranational pa siya. My only worry is that kapag masyadong manufactured na yung face mo, baka hindi na rin siya hindi na rin siya to the advantage of the girl. Kasi there are times na pag sobra na yung turok sa lips, sobra na yung turok sa cheeks, ganyan, nagpaturok pa ng dagdag na baba, medyo din, parang templahin mo din kung kailan kinakailangan prumeno. Sometimes kapag masyado ng sobra yung botox mo, hindi ka na makangiti, medyo hindi na rin siya maganda, di ba? Yes, I do believe Sarah is bound to receive a special role and she will be ably guided by ever a second former queen should also be allowed in the execom. Kim Pascal, 2004, panalo ang roster. Okay. Kumusta naman yung PH version? Pag-usapan natin yan mamaya. Jon Snow at Kim Pascual, 2004, Wulandari, Elvira, Anin, Kesha, Sonia, and Federica all came from what? Jon Snow. Ba't nawala yung the rest of your comment? Okay. Nasa na ba tayo? Michael Cordoves, malabo ang NBC mag-broadcast kasi binitawan na nila ng broadcast before, kaya nalipat-lipat siya from NBC to Fox. Yun, sabi ni Jon Snow, continue. Okay. Jon Snow, Kezia hindi siya galing sa mayaman na pamilya si Kezia. Actually, siya yung hindi ganun ka well off. Wulandari is not also that well off, if I'm not mistaken. Siya nagkapangalan dahil isa siya sa mga most sought out na models sa Indonesia. So ayun, hindi lahat sila may galing sa mayaman na pamilya. I think even Bunga hindi galing sa mayaman na pamilya. Kezia siguro mga middle class, but not necessarily like rich family. Winnicott, Sir Jason, do you still find prestige and relevance in pageants having their queen selling patis and bottled water? Depende kung paano yung packaging. JUP says, no hate for MUPH pero mas nakaka-excite ang MUT, more inclusive for fans. Even also with media, mukhang mas inclusive ang MUT. Dorothy V. Jones says, speaking of Charlene, she is perfect. Likewise, I remember her excellent hosting of the 2008 Binibining Pilipinas. A respectable chair or ND she would make. Ayan. So, since medyo marami-rami na tayong napag-usapan, sige, pag-usapan natin yung nangyayari doon sa copyright na wars ng dalawang organisasyon. Hindi ako magsasabi ng names just to protect yung anonymity ng mga pageants na to, because I am sure kayang-kaya niyo silang i-decipher. Now, there are two organizations na naglalaban-laban sa isang male Pageant na pangalan. Alam niyo kung ano itong mga ito. Now, the thing about this is that allegedly, yung Philippine-based na org is binigyan ng authority ng may-ari na mapasa kanya yung organization before his passing. Kasi na-appoint siya as vice president ng buong organisasyon. Now, lahat ng mga involved doon sa organization na to, nung buhay pa yung may-ari, kinda had like, bakit siya? Yung kanilang reaction. That's the reaction that some of these people had. Of course, hindi natin maiaalis na magtaka dahil dahil they felt probably na sila dapat yung mamuno doon sa organization. Kaya ang nangyari is habang nangyayari yung patimpalak nung nakaraang taon, nagkaroon ng hostile na takeover. Nawala sa administratorship ng mga social media na accounts yung bagong presidente. And dito nag-umpisa yung hostile na takeover. During that time, hindi tayo sigurado kung nakanino ang papeles. Pero nitong mga nakaraang buwan, nitong mga nakaraang mga panahon, yung presidente nagpakita ng resibo na mayroong kasulatan, na mayroon siyang mga pinanghahawakang mga papeles na nagsasabi na siya yung legal na may-ari. Samantalang yung kabila, yung pamunuan na nakabase sa santolan, walang nilalabas na kahit na anong resibo. Nitong nakaraang Hulyo, nagkaroon ng gulatan na pagkawala yung social media accounts nung taga Santolan. Ang nakarating sa akin na balita is pinapalabas na kasalanan nung pag-organization yung pagkawala ng mga social media accounts na yon. Kaya nagkaroon na din ako noon ng confusion kung bakit nawala. I think you remember yung mga post ko earlier na there are some accounts na nawala. Tapos bumalik ulit. At ngayon naman, ang nawala is yung mga accounts nung tagapagpag. Bumalik yung mga accounts nung taga Santolan Station, nawala yung mga tagapagpag. Which now, ang eksplika ng mga kaibigan natin sa industriya na parang naging tactical na move na galaw ito nung taga Santolan at pinapalabas na sila yung naging biktima ng hacking, wherein sila ngayon naman yung may accounts on social media. So there is a back and forth of accusations on what's happening. So ang sinasabi ngayon is parang lumalabas na yung taga-Santolan, yung mga taga-Santolan, dine-activate yung kanilang mga social na mga accounts, social media na mga accounts, para palabasin na inutusan ng mga tagapagpag na organization na i-hack yung kanilang mga accounts para palabasin na ganon ang nangyari. Pero ngayon, ang nakikita naman natin ngayon is kabaligtaran. Sila ngayon yung may mga accounts on social media at yung mga tagapagpag naman ang nawala. Apparently, yung mga taga Santolan Station, inuna nilang nag-file sa Meta ng FB at IG na sila ang may-ari ng copyrights nung tawag nito, nung pageant. Unfortunately, yung mga tagapagpag, ang inuna nilang inasikaso is yung legal na mga kaso at dinala nila yon sa santolan para maayos. Ngayon, alam naman natin dito sa industriya na ito, if you don't have the social media presence, you're nothing. You don't exist. Kaya isa ito sa mga kinakailangan ayusin ng mga organization na base dito sa pagpag. So ngayon, mahaba pa itong mga pwedeng mangyari. Kaya kung nagtataka kayo na bakit wala yung yung mga social media accounts ng tagapagpag, ito ay dahil nakita niyo naman dun sa IG stories ko na active na pinapatanggal noong mga taga-santolan yung mga accounts ng mga tagapagpag. And this is, very convoluted. This is going to be a very interesting na conversation later on kapag everything is being discussed in a legal manner na. Kasi sa social media kasi hindi siya it's only optics when we discuss social media. So maraming pwedeng mangyari na akala natin totoo on social media, but it does not necessarily reflect what is happening on the legal na battles. So I think for us na mga pageant fans, the best thing that we can do as of this moment is to research, to ask questions. What is happening? Bakit sila nawala? Bakit ganito ang nangyayari? Because I think habang lumilinaw yung perspektibo natin doon sa nangyayari, kung gaano kadumi maglaro yung isang kampo, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na sila yung lehitimo. Dahil kung pakitaan lang ng mga legal na dokumento, pwedeng yung tagapagpag ang may hawak ng mga legal na dokumento at walang maipakita yung kabila or vice versa. So we're still wanting to have this settled at the legal na part para hindi siya magkaroon ng scenario na we will have 3 different orgs like the Miss Globe na title that kung saan unang sumali si Maricar Balagtas. So yun yung iniiwasan natin na mangyari in the future. And I do hope that mabilis sana yung legalities, pag-aayos ng mga legalities ng mga ito, dahil I think this is not going to be settled within this year. Medyo matagal-tagal pa ito na tawag nito na proseso. So yun. I do hope na naliwanagan kayo, but if you want the details, I do suggest na basahin nyo na lang, intindihin nyo na lang yung patsaa na nilabas ko earlier. Kasi madudugtungan yan. Hindi pa yan yung kalahatan ng tawag ito ng mga nalalaman natin, dahil marami pa tayong factors that we still need to know. So hihintayin natin yung mga detalye ng mga ito habang tumatagal habang umuusad yung kaso. Okay? So back to the comments. So where are we? Sabi ni Saldi Salen, Sir Jess, the Philippines and El Salvador just celebrated their 74th anniversary of diplomatic relations last July 4 this year. Saldi, do we have a embassy in El Salvador? Because the last time I checked, parang wala. I do hope na meron. Kasi for those na gustong mag-travel, it's an added security din kasi if you travel internationally when you know that you have an embassy, a Philippine embassy na pwede mong takbuhan anytime. So sabi ni Kim Pascual, Pagpag doesn't have the Mississology clout like Santolan. Pawi is one of the executives there. Also, wala masyadong exposure at presence itong si India na winner ng Pagpag edition. Parang Miss Supranational dati na may Poland and India na version. So, yun na nga. Again, if whoever gets to, to be decided by the courts, who owns yung what do you call this? Who owns yung copyrights, yung legal rights, then bahala na sila na na mag-ayos niyan later on. Kasi ang importante dito is sana man lang walang panggigipit na nangyayari on both sides. And from what we're learning as of this moment, yung isang kampo ang nanggigipit. And I think this is going to escalate further. And I am also saying na ang mahirap dito is that there will be a lot of people who will be taking sides who don't know what the full story is. It doesn't mean that just because sabihin mo na tawag nito na kami dapat yung may-ari ng rights, copyrights because kami yung close friends ng mayapang may-ari. That doesn't sound legal kung wala kang papeles na pinanghahawakan. So, yun. Jester PL says, confirms, Sir Jess, may Filipino consulate tayo sa San Salvador. That's good news. Kasi there are people who want to go and visit and watch Miss Universe in El Salvador. So, it's good to hear na meron tayong consulate doon. Nasaan ba tayo? Rodwin Fiel, Sir Jess, present po ko. I missed this. Thank you. Welcome to the channel, to the live stream, Rodvin. Tagal na rin natin hindi nag-live stream because I think the last time na live stream tayo was third week ng July. Nasaan ba tayo? Michael Cordoves says, I hope makagawa ng magandang move si MMD sa El Salvador para ma-dominate niya ang MU pageant sa El Salvador. Baka kasi mangyari sa El Salvador yung nangyari sa Puerto Rico noong 2002 na puro Latina nakapasok sa top 5. Okay, ayan. Before we continue, I just want to lastly mention itong isa sa mga nasa agenda ko, which is the Miss Earth. Kasi ang Miss Earth si Mina is going to India around the 23rd of August, and she will stay there for several days together with Sheridan Mortlock. And it just so happened that during, of course, because I follow Miss Diva, the Miss Diva organization, it is kind of perplexing that the Miss Diva organization would post something on the Earth na mga titles like Earth and Air with Srinidhi Shetty and Manasi Moghe during their parang they're still in the process of promoting yung mga castings nila. So I'm kind of just curious that it kind of coincides yung visit ni na Sheridan and ni Mina sa India with these latest na mga pronouncements and posts on the Miss Diva organization. If it is true, if magkataon that the Miss Diva organization now has the license for Miss Earth, then that would be perfect. I think that would be a very, very good, a very, very good move for the Miss Earth organization because Miss Diva is one of those pageants that puts a focus on on quality international pageants, because Miss Diva selects their representatives for Miss Universe and Miss Supranational. So I'm quite, I'm quite happy if this is the trajectory that this development is happening, is going and going to move forward for both organizations, kasi Miss Diva is one of the bigger national pageants in India. Siguro the only pageant that has a better and bigger na clout in India, it's the Femina Miss India na pageant. So it's, I do hope that, this is a possibility. In the next several weeks, we would know if this is true. I am hoping that this is true, kasi parang ma-elevate palalo yung Miss Earth because of this. And tingin ko that ang mas magbe-benefit dito is yung Miss Earth kesa yung Miss Diva. So I'm kind of excited kung totoo ito, kasi I'm kind of perplexed. Why do they need to include earth and air in their post? Kung tomorrow, magpo-post sila on water or on fire, then this is something na we are going to definitely be excited about. Kasi hindi naman sila basta-bastang magpo-post kung wala naman silang balak, wala naman silang pinapatunguhan. And I'm kind of excited because it only goes to show that yung relevance ng Miss Earth is so very, very deeply rooted on its advocacy, that hindi siya kayang balewalain or in-neglect, na hindi siya pwedeng hindi mapansin ng mga national organizations because of its relevancy in today's social and political climate. So I think that if in the next 2 days makakita pa tayo ng mga posts on the Miss Diva na social media accounts, and would likely include their fire and water in their image and in their captions, then malaki ang chance na baka nakuha na nila yung yung franchise for Miss Earth. And I am also excited because this would make Mina the third most traveled na Alpha Queen this year. Of course, hindi mawawala na hindi maikakaila that Carolina Bielowska, our reigning Miss World, is the more traveled among the among the girls, among the 4 Alpha Queens, dahil she's been reigning like 6 months longer than the rest of yung mga winners, or 8 months yata, 8 months longer than the rest of the queens that were only crowned around October to January of this year, October last year to January of this year. So it's understandable that Arbony has the least travels because she's been to Guatemala, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, around 5 to 6 countries if I'm not mistaken. Samantalang si Mina has been to around 6 yata na countries so far, plus possible trips, unconfirmed pa na trips to Singapore, Puerto Rico, and of course yung upcoming trip niya, yung confirmed na upcoming trip niya in India later this August. So akalain mo na si Jasmine Selberg would be the next most traveled among the all Alpha Queens, because Jasmine has been to at least 9 countries so far. The ones I am aware of are the Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, yung kanyang Asian na tour. She's also been to Namibia. She's also been to the Czech Republic, to Finland, and Estonia, and Latvia. So that's 8. I'm not yet sure kung ano yung dalawa pa niya na ibang mga countries that she traveled to. But again, I think sa 9 or 10 na siya na tawag ito na travels as of this month. So kung sakaling I believe that she also has a Latin American trip later on around September or October. No. I think around towards the end of August into September. So, hihintayin pa natin yon. Which makes, people who criticize Miss International na it's so boring, wala namang nangyayari doon sa mga winners nila. This proves that Jasmine Salberg is being one of the most traveled na Alpha Queens this year. This only proves yung relevance niya as a winner. Okay, so let's move on to the mga comments so we can start wrapping it up because it's been almost an hour and 30 minutes na at this point. Where are we? I think we ended up with Saldi Salen confirming that we have a consulate in San Salvador. Okay. Nasaan na ba? Sabi ni Kim Pascual 2004 ay sana nga mapunta ang franchise ng Miss Earth sa Miss Diva. Sana not to follow din sa Miss Event, nakaka-prestige naman napasali doon. Even sa Putri, sana kunin nila yung franchise ng ME. Yagin Brian Gregory Q. Iisa po ba ang entertainment company na may-ari ng Femina, Miss India at Miss Diva? I think it's the same mother company but different subsidiary na mga companies yung nagka-handle ng Miss India at ng Miss Diva. Okay, nasaan na tayo? Kim Pascual says, even sa Miss Señorita Colombia, sana kunin nila ang Miss Earth. Kasi true naman na mas magbe-benefit ang Miss Earth sa mga local pageants na established na. Winnicott says, nasa ba to? Winnicott says, Miss Diva dropped the Earth franchise after they did not place in ME 2014, right? Then the franchise was acquired by Glamanand in 2015, Prosper Event in 2016, and Divine Beauty in 2017 to present. Okay, Dansom SNJHSM says Jasmine is going to Peru. So, isipin nyo yun. Jasmine is going to be one of the most traveled among the 4 Alpha Queens this year. So, which is a good thing for the Miss International organization. Kasi sa tingin ko masyado nang namimihasa yung mga ibang mga fans na they always criticize the Miss International pageant for being too traditional. But sometimes it's the tradition that makes, that keeps the pageant alive. And with these more travels for Jasmine only goes to show that, they selected the right winner last year. So yun. Okay, so I just want to wrap up our discussion for this evening. Thank you very much for everyone na sumubaybay, na nandito, nanonood ngayon ng ating live stream. I do hope that before we end this conversation, you would hit the thumbs up button so that it will be helpful for us with the YouTube algorithm. For the last notes, I think that this August, wala masyadong nangyayari. I think the pageant season will pick up somewhere around September. Alam naman natin that around October, nandyan yung karamihan ng mga international na pageants na mangyayari because that is usually where the international pageant season starts. Yung months ng September and August, they're actually lull months in between, and this usually are the months where pageant representatives would start, preparing for their international stints. And I do hope na tutok yung mga girls ngayon sa preparation nila because the month of October is quite near. They would probably be traveling around the first week of October or the last week of September. So around September, we will be most likely to have the send-offs for what do you call this, for Nicole Borromeo, and around siguro October for Ana Lacrini for Miss Globe later on. So there. Nasa na ba tayo? I think that's it. Let's just read yung mga final comments here before we end our live stream. I think the last comments is from John Snow 79. Sabi niya, Miss Diva is still organized by Femina Miss India. Pinaghiwalay lang nila para magkaibang contest ng Miss World at ng Miss Universe na gusto ni Madam Julia noon na dapat sa kanila isend ang main winner. Winnicott says, Jasmine travels to European countries near Germany where she uses her own car. That's not fair if we count these travels. Even her trip to Estonia was more of a personal vacation. You cannot say that it's more of a personal vacation because if she traveled there with actual itinerary, with actual Miss International na function, with her sash, of course, you cannot just discount that. Kasi it's still a official function. So, she has some European na mga travels na hindi ko na in-include dito sa listahan because wala siyang official SAS na dala-dala na gamit, and she was not there officially for a Miss International na function. So yung mga travels niya to Finland, where she had a courtesy call doon sa Choicely na head offices ng Choicely, because Choicely is going to be the official voting app for Miss International this year. She also had parang official trip sa Namibia. So yung mga yun lang ang nilista ko. So it's not saying that yung trip niya sa Estonia more of a personal vacation lang, kasi pwede naman na pinaghalo niya yung kanyang official function there with her personal vacation after, kasi nga magkakalapit lang naman ang mga European countries na to. Dorothy V. Jones says, how could Miss Earth capture the sheen an alpha pageant normally has? Tapos sabi ni Dansom, SNJHFM, sana more travel din si Angelica. Okay, so yun lang. Dorothy V. Jones is asking, is Maureen joining Miss Philippines? I do not know. Kasi if ang target niya is Miss Supra, then I think pasok pa siya sa age. I think that's within her prerogative if she still wants to join another international competition. So yun, thank you guys for joining us in our live stream this evening. Pasensya na kung there were some instances na nagloko ang ating Wi-Fi at napuputol tayo, but I do hope na throughout the rest of our conversations hindi masyadong ganun ka-extreme yung interruptions natin, unlike yung previous na live stream natin 2 weeks ago. Okay? Thank you very much for everyone who dropped by and stood by our an hour and 30 minutes long now na live stream, and I do hope we see you again soon in our next episode. Thank you and good evening, everyone. I do hope you, before we end up, you drop a like in our live stream and share this to your friends. Okay? Have a great evening, everyone, and see you again soon. Bye!